Space4environment, giving us an introduction of the EU Grassland Watch.
Thank you. So thank you and good morning to everybody. I'm honored to be the first one here and also to see how many people have found the way already to this presentation. Yeah, I'm trying to give you a glimpse introduction, short introduction into the EU Grassland Watch project. It's a project financed by the European Commission, by DG Environment, and it's not so much of a technical presentation that I'm going to give, but I'm trying to give you a little bit an overview of for what all of the technologies that some of you will be presenting later can be used. We are partly already using. And I'm here on behalf of the Grassland Watch Consortium, which is a consortium of 11 partners. You see them here on the slide. We have on that side more the, let's say, processing guys. So Gisard, Vito, and UNEO Research are responsible for developing all the EO processing part. We have Bilbo Matica as the ones who are developing the web platform, so how we are sharing our information later on with the wider world. Spectrum Natura and also Space for the communication and the outreach to the users. And then we also have some user organizations themselves, the Swedish Agricultural University, BirdLife, and also the Slovak Academy of Science. That's just as a quick overview of who we are. Why are we looking at grasslands? I would say you probably all know that. They are extremely high in biodiversity, but on the other hand, they are extremely threatened. And when we look to the European reports, the Article 17 reports that are being done under the Habitat Directive, we can see here the blue circle, which is basically the area that indicates the grass, or it's the column for the grasslands, and the red part is actually the grassland share that is in bad condition. So that means on the one hand we have a bad condition, but the orange part also is the unknown part. So we have grasslands not in a good shape, and we have in addition some that we don't even know what the condition is. And if you then just look at the little green part where we know that is the good condition, then you will probably understand why we are trying to look more into grasslands and to provide more of this information. And so what we are doing is try to find out information about land cover changes, land use changes, because land use also is a very strong driver of the changes in the grasslands. And on the other hand, we are trying to provide information to, on the one hand, again, stakeholders, site managers, local administrations, national administrations responsible for the Article 17 reporting, because again, it's a lot of unknown, so they have more information at hand to report better. On the other hand, we give the information also to the Commission, so the Commission can actually do some kind of compliance reporting or checking. So we are supporting bottom up, let's say, the countries, but also trying to support top down the Commission in order to give information or to serve information needs coming from both ends. As I said, land use is one of the strong drivers of the threats and the bad condition or whatever that is experienced in the grasslands. But the problem is that not only intensification leads to a problem, so it's not just the overuse, but at the same time also the underuse of grasslands can lead to abandonment. So you have a dilemma that if you are using it too much, you are doing a bad thing. And if you're not using it enough, you're also doing a bad thing. So what is the balance, in fact, that you need to find in order to keep your grassland in a condition that you would say is good? And then we also have grasslands that actually need a certain degree of management or interference to stay as they are. So you have some areas that don't exist without grazing or whatever and a little interference. So, but where is the border between that right amount of grazing and overgrazing again? So the project, what we are trying to provide is, and I have a few words here in bold, is actually an operational service. So it's not just a prototype application. It's something that should really become operational and run on a web platform to provide timely information. That also means we try to provide information not 3 years after the satellite image has been acquired, but it should be within, let's say, 6 to 12 months after the vegetation period for a certain region has ended. So we are aiming to be a lot closer to the time where the reporting data is also needed. Again, information on status, on changes and pressures, and that's important in this case, in Natura 2000 sites. So it's protected sites in Europe, so it's not all grasslands in Europe, and they are grassland dominated. And the other important part, I think, is we are looking at a time series from 1994 to 2025. So we're looking at a time series of 31 years. So it's not just a couple of years, but it's really a long period because people need to know we have the different Article 17 reporting periods every 6 years. And they want to know what's happening in the different 6 years. And sometimes you also want to go back in order to understand what has happened in the past. So the information we are providing is also for 16,000 sites. So it's 16,000 sites times 30 years. It's quite a bit of data, I would say. We are moving more from the classification of grasslands to a characterization, a description of the grasslands. So we don't like to put labels on a polygon, but more to give attributes to it. And the whole thing is building on the experience of the COP4N2K project that also some of you might be knowing. So what are the components we are doing? We have the land cover component, where we have 10 or 11 land cover classes. But then for the grassland class, let's say, we have a component called grassland type. So we are looking at the UNIS habitat type of the grasslands. We have a management component where we try to see how intensively the whole thing is managed, mainly interpreted or driven by mowing. And also we have a productivity component. So, and all of these three things you can freely combine in a certain pixel. So you know the grassland type, you know the management, and you know the productivity. And so we are not giving you a fixed classification of the object, but we try to give you information that you in your local context can interpret what you're looking at. Is it a dehesa or is it an orchard? Both of them have grass and trees on it. So that's a little bit the information, how we try to provide the information and make it more usable to different parts of Europe. How are we, let's say, preparing the information for use? We have a number of indicators we would like to develop. It's clear they must be possible. And they must be possible to be derived for all Europe, so not just for a few test areas. They must be useful for the Natura 2000 site monitoring. So what are the threats that are actually of interest in the sites? We aim to be understandable, not being overly complex or whatever, but some of the site managers are not necessarily EO specialists. They are biodiversity specialists, so we need to provide information in a language that they understand. And on the other hand, we also try to provide information tailored to the users in a sense that they can actually extract and select information that we are providing and download the information to combine it with the information that they have themselves. So we are not limiting only the use of the data to what we provide, but we enable, let's say, the user to use our information and to value add it with his information to get even more information out of it. And as I said, we had a couple of user meetings. One of the comments also there is absolute values are more interesting than aggregated ones, because if you have an absolute value, you can much easier mix it with your own information. If we are looking, I said it must be relevant for Natura 2000 reporting. If we are looking at the Natura 2000 standard data form and what are the pressures and threats that are being observed in grassland sites in Europe, you see here an overview of the most important pressures. And I would say that our indicators will respond to about half of them. So I mean, the first one is agriculture-related pressures. So that's the high one here. So there we have information. We have something on forest-related practices and so on. So all of this information, in the end, where you see a green arrow, we will be able to provide information to. I said the whole thing will be shared on the platform. So this is the COP4N2K platform already exists, but it is, let's say, not fed with new information anymore. So the information you find on it there is a bit outdated. We are currently working on an updated version in order to feed the latest information in the tool. It's not yet online, but again, as I said, this tool should serve more than 16,000 Natura 2000, more than 16,000 Natura 2000 sites and provide information for this long time period. At the moment, we are working on the Sentinel period because that's another challenge we have. We have, of course, different satellite input data. We have the Sentinel period, we have the Landsat period, we have different information sources. On the other hand, they need to come up and provide some kind of a consistent time series and list of information. We have all the information is free and open. So once the website is online, there will be a possibility to download the information for the area of interest that you would like to work on. The idea is to make it in a quite intuitive design. So the idea is with 3 clicks, you should be able to get to the information that you are aiming at. And a glimpse preview of what you might be, or let's say what you will be seeing. This is an extract of the information from somewhere in Belgium, in the Walloon region. What we will be able to show actually is, and I have it here, on the one hand is what we call the Grassland Watch component. You remember we talked about components, so this is the Grassland type component we are seeing. We are able to show on top of that some Grassland Watch statistics and indicators. So in this case here, it's the share of grassland. And also the tool will allow you to upload external information. If you have information that has a WMS, you can load it to the tool and you can show that data together with the information. And this basically also is my last slide. So you're welcome to join our mailing list. And we have a poster in the D13. So it's in D13 that gives you a little bit more information about the technical backgrounds. And unfortunately, the video at the Vito booth did not happen. So I was not able to delete that anymore. Okay, thank you.